Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a global tour, but we're definitely skipping the typical tourist traps. Instead, we're looking at some truly monumental, multi-billion-dollar construction failures. We're exploring the absolutely most useless megaprojects in the world. It's kind of like watching what happens when these grand sky-high engineering visions crash headfirst into harsh reality.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the number, over 53 million. That is the staggering number of people who actually tuned into our source material just to dissect these specific construction disasters. I mean, clearly there's this deep shared human fascination with epic concrete blunders. We absolutely love to witness human ambition, but we seem to be equally captivated, maybe even more so, when that ambition results in just monumental miscalculations.
So here's our flight itinerary for today's tour. We'll start by defining useless megaprojects. Then we head to Hawaii for Interstate H3, fly over to Spain to check out the Ciudad Real Central Airport, and explore Asian ghost cities. After that, we'll return stateside for the Yucca Mountain Nuclear Repository, and finally wrap it all up with the price of ambition.
All right, Section 1, defining useless megaprojects. Okay, let's really dive into this. To get us all on the same page, a useless megaproject is essentially a highly expensive construction endeavor characterized by being abandoned, delayed, or just entirely failed. We aren't talking about, minor budget overruns here. We're looking at massive, resource-draining, literally landscape-altering plans that simply failed to fulfill their actual intended purpose. Moving right along to Section 2, Interstate H3 in Hawaii.
Now, Hawaii's Interstate H3 is just a textbook mega-build anomaly. It stands as a really prime example of how massive island infrastructure plans can just morph into these protracted, astronomical expenses. I mean, get this. It took nearly 4 decades to complete. 4 decades! And it cost roughly $1.3 billion. That actually makes it one of the most expensive highways per mile ever built anywhere. It really pushes the absolute limits of both engineering and, well, budgeting.
Next up, Section 3, Ciudad Real Central Airport. So the crucial point here is, think about the sprawling terminals and the massive runways you need for heavy aviation traffic, right? Now imagine all of that just sitting there, entirely unused, right in the middle of the Spanish landscape. Built at a staggering cost of over €1 billion to serve as an overflow hub for Madrid, Ciudad Real Central Airport is basically a striking monument to complete abandonment. It was a massively expensive bet where the anticipated passenger usage just completely failed to materialize.
Over to Section 4 now, Asian ghost cities. Let's move to Asia and see how this builds, because comparing these two locations side by side reveals a really chilling urban phenomenon. First, we have Nai Phayat in Myanmar, which is often dubbed the strangest city in the world, and for good reason. It covers an area over 4 times the size of London, yet its massive multi-lane highways and huge sprawling districts are virtually empty. And similarly, Forest City in Malaysia, which was this colossal $100 billion endeavor, shares this exact same eerie thread. These are massive, futuristic infrastructures literally designed for hundreds of thousands of people, yet they remain largely abandoned. It's a pretty haunting look at the sheer disconnect between top-down mega-planning and actual everyday human settlement.
Bringing it back to the US for Section 5, Yucca Mountain Nuclear Repository.
Now, the Yucca Mountain Repository represents a very different kind of failure, specifically heavily delayed nuclear waste storage. We're talking about a highly technical, multi-billion-dollar engineering feat. It was designed for a totally critical purpose deep inside a Nevada mountain, yet it just remains completely stalled. Now, regardless of the policies surrounding it, as a resource sink, it basically exists in this permanent state of limbo. It's essentially a mega project completely frozen in time. And finally, Section 6, the price of ambition. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scope of the issue we've been looking at. I mean, from the incredibly expensive, decades-long delays of Hawaii's H3, all the way to the totally empty runways in Spain. Or from the strange, deserted streets of Myanmar, straight over to a frozen nuclear mountain in Nevada. Across the entire globe, regardless of the specific engineering goal or the location, massive ambition consistently runs the risk of incredibly expensive standstills. It's truly a universal phenomenon. Which leaves us with a really critical question to ponder. At what point does a bold engineering vision simply become an expensive, abandoned failure? Is it a flaw in the original blueprint, a miscalculation of human behavior, or is it just the inevitable risk you run when trying to build on such a massive scale? Keep that in mind the next time a revolutionary new mega project makes the headlines. Thanks so much for joining me today, and as always, keep seeking the structure